Right, so are you thinking of doing an Ironman but you're worried about the cut-off time? And I've googled it and it says it's 17 hours, which seems like a really long time, but there's a lot of people that don't really want to bother training for an Ironman and just want to do it just so they can flex, and I 100% understand that, because that's the kind of thing that I would want to do too. So I thought I'd make a video on how to make it as easy as possible. Like, you don't care about having like a TT bike and spending £1 million, and all the little tips and tricks to make it as simple and as fast and efficient as possible. So it's 17 hours we've got to do an Ironman, which is 3,800 metres of swimming, 180k of cycling, and then a marathon, 42.2k of running, which is a really long way. So swim, bike, run, transitions, little bit of nutrition. I've got them written down, so don't be put off. This is a long video. I've got them written down over here, all the cut-off times and all that. So this is section 1. You are stood on the start line, or you will have thought about this before, but now you're stood on the start line. You want to make it as easy as possible to do the swim. You've got 2 hours 20 from when you start, which is 3 minutes 40 per 100 meters, or 55 seconds per one length of a 25 meter pool, which seems fairly slow, but you might be in the sea, you might be in a lake, you might be in a river, and before you know it, you've had a couple of breathers and it's taken you a while to do that swim. So you're going to need a couple of tips. So my number 1 tip is a nice thick wetsuit. Don't be thrown off by all this flexibility in the shoulders and overheating. You want the thickest wetsuit you can possibly buy. 5mm I think is the legal limit, but remember, if you're looking to just get the cut-off time, nobody's going to be coming round measuring the thickness of your wetsuit. They've got bigger problems on their mind. So get the thickest one you can find. If that's some kind of scuba diving, I don't know, surfing wetsuit, go for it. If you're comfortable in it, that's what you're going to wear. And now, second point, this is where we start to blur the line between legal and illegal and sneaky tips. But if you're really worried, get some buoyancy shorts and put them under your wetsuit. Again, nobody's going to come round checking if you've got buoyancy shorts under your wetsuit. Nobody cares. And on the same topic, if you really got sinky legs, pop some neoprene calf sleeves on. You're going to literally be swimming head first down to the bottom of the pool, but you're going to be so buoyant that's going to make it nice and easy for you to get around that swim in 2 hours 20. And now, 2 hours 20, it starts from when you enter the water. So there's no point lining up on the front row thinking that you're going to get extra time. The best thing you can do if you're just trying to make the cut-off time is start dead last. Because you're going to have clear water, nobody's going to come over and be smacking you in the face, splashing you around. You've got nice clear water, lots of draft, all the water is moving in front of you in that direction, because every 1,000 people have already gone and they've started moving the water that way. There's no way that can make you slower. And then as well, for confidence, if you start dead last, anyone that you overtake is going to be out. If they don't make the cut-off time, they've made it before you've not made it. So there's a bit in there for confidence as well, if you want to know if you're ahead of schedule. If your breaststroke is faster than your front crawl, don't think, oh, I have to do front crawl to look like a real triathlete. Just do breaststroke. If it's the fastest way, if my breaststroke was faster than my front crawl, I'd be doing breaststroke too. And you can also have a look round, have a breathe every stroke, enjoy the scenery. You've paid a lot of money to enter this race, so do breaststroke if it's quicker. And finally, this is in between the swim and the transition. If you wear a tri-suit under your wetsuit, it will be faster through transition. But at the end of the day, if you're out there for 17 hours, comfort is going to be faster eventually. So if it's a salty swim, I'd probably recommend just putting on your little budgie smugglers or a swimming costume and quickly getting changed in transition. But if it's not a salty swim and you feel pretty confident that you're going to be alright throughout the bike at least, just pop some Vaseline on down there and get through transition nice and quick. We'll do a bit more on transitions at the end, but we're going to move on to the bike now. So you've made your swim in your 2 hours and 20, And now you've got to do a 180k ride, and you've got 10 hours 30 to be at transition from the start of the race, which leaves 8 hours and 10 minutes to do 180k. That's 22k an hour, 13.7 miles an hour. And if this is a nice rolling smooth tarmac course, that shouldn't be too difficult for the average Joe. But I've got some tips to make it even easier, and it starts with your tyres. All these bike companies are going to bang on and on and on about aerodynamics, but if you're going 22k an hour, not to put you down, aerodynamics barely even counts, especially when you're on the flat and been going uphill. Rolling resistance is much more important. And when people say, oh, you should probably get some nice tyres, they don't mean puncture proof that are going to last you a lifetime, like Schwalbe Marathon or Gator Skins. Not those. I'm talking about proper nice fancy time trial tyres. They're going to set you back maybe £150, which could be the equivalent of your bike, but you've spent £700 on an Ironman, so this £150 is probably the biggest thing that's going to make a difference on your bike. Get something like the Continental GP 5000s, the TT version. If you're really brave, they're going to save you. When you're going this speed, rolling resistance is so much more important than the aero, so get some really nice tyres. There's loads of websites out there, and you can Google fastest tyres. Secondly, I know you're doing an Ironman and you're going to be out there 8 hours and 10 minutes, but don't strap loads of junk to your bike. Like no pumps sticking out, like lights and stuff. You're going to be out there in the day on the bike, and there's going to be millions of people there with you. You don't need lights and all this stuff strapped on. But if you do want to store stuff on your bike, don't use a handlebar bag, because that's right where the wind is going to hit you from. That's the worst thing you could put on the front of your bike. You might as well just sit up no hands and be a sail. Get a frame bag which fits in line with your frame. There's like no aero penalty. In some cases it's actually faster. Next is bike fit, and again, I'm not talking about an aero bike fit. We're not trying to be all tucked in, because at the end of the day, if you're going 22k an hour, comfort is more important. So get a bike fit that you just want to be nice and comfy, you know, a nice upright position, relaxed shoulders, saddle height's right, so you're not going to blow your knees and your hips out, because at the end of the day, comfort is going to be quicker if you're going to be there 17 hours. Okay, this next one does break the rules, and it's draft. If you find a friend and you're chatting to a friend on the course, I mean, I haven't experienced it because I'm usually getting told off for drafting penalties, but at the back of the race, nobody is going to care if you're having a little chat, a bit of morale boost, and working together a bit, having a bit of draft. You probably shouldn't say it, but I'm saying it now. Find a friend, work together. You might make a friend for life, and you're going to gain a little bit of advantage. I mean, it's not going to win you the race if you're battling for the cut-off time, and if anything, it's going to be a little bit safer because you can work together, not dig yourself into a hole and collapse. So draft and find a friend. Next is aid stations. There might have been one coming out of the swim, which you probably missed because you were so hypoxic and out of it, but now you've focused a bit. You've paid about £700 to enter that race, and you've paid for an all-inclusive buffet. So if you need to stop at an aid station, stop at an aid station, get some water, get some food, take it all, but don't just stand around, eat it. They sometimes put chairs out to tempt you to sit down. Don't do that. Take all the food, all the water, get back on your bike and eat it while you're going along, because if you're just stood still, you're literally just wasting time. So never, this is a blanket statement, never just stop and stand still in the aid stations. Get what you want, walk through them, cycle, get off your bike, have a look round, get your stuff, but never just stand there and eat and drink. Anything that you can do on the bike or while you're moving, do it while you're moving. And now finally, I know I'm hanging on, aero doesn't matter when you're going 22k an hour, but if you go down a hill and you're going 40k an hour, you're already ahead of schedule. Stop pedaling, tuck up nice and aero. If there's a headwind, if there's a 50k an hour headwind, I really hope there isn't for you, but tuck up nice and aero, because the wind speed is what's important when it comes to aero. If you're going 22k an hour and the wind speed's 22k an hour, sit up, have a look round and enjoy it. But if you've got a headwind and it's 50k an hour, maybe tuck up a little bit, but you know, whatever, I'm not really too fussed. Right, and now you come into transition again, and if it was a salty swim and you're in a tri-suit, your bum You might be regretting it now, might be a little bit ripped up, but this is your time, and I would probably put in your transition bag a spare change of clothes, because nothing beats a fresh pair of socks, nice pair of shorts and a running vest to boost morale. And it might be a little bit slower. If you're comfortable in your tri-suit, I'm all for it. Don't change, because it's going to save you time, but eventually that chafing is going to build up and it's going to slow you down, because comfy is quick and comfy will get you through the whole race. So have a spare pair of clothes in transition, and definitely some Vaseline or something. But for this run, so you've got 17 hours from the start of the race, but from the end of the bike, if you've just made the final cut on the bike, you've got 6 hours 30 for 42.2k. That's 9 minutes 15 a kilometre, or 15 minutes a mile, or 5k every 46 minutes, which doesn't sound too bad, but you have just been exercising for 11.5 hours. So I've got some tips for you. When you come in, calculate from your start time how long you've got left, and maybe have a little bit of paper to have the splits that you need to do on all your eventualities. Say you come in on 11 hours 29, you know you've got 6 hours 31 minutes to finish the race, but chances are, if you've watched this video, you're going to be a bit ahead of that. So you want to know what splits you're going to have to run. For carbon shoes, if you're doing 9 minutes 15 a kilometre, not putting you down again, but carbon shoes are going to make very little impact. If anything, because they're slightly more unstable because of the foam, they work best if you've got a really quick bounce, low contact time on the floor. If you're doing 9 minutes 15 a k, even 8 minutes a k, even 5 minutes a k, carbon shoes are not going to do anything for you. They're just going to overwork your stabilizing muscles because your foot's on the floor for longer. So get a nice comfortable shoe, probably something you've used before, something stable. This is something you want to do a month or two in advance before your Ironman, and really wear them in so that they're nice and comfy, no blisters. Lock laces, don't bother with them, because they've got a little bit of stretching, and that stretch and that movement over the marathon, that's going to cause some blisters. So yeah, comfy, stable, no carbon, just a nice pair of shoes that you're confident in. If you're leaving transition and there's portaloos there and there's a big queue and you think, ooh, yeah, I could use a pee, I could use a poo, don't stop there. There'll be another set in about 2k with nobody, because everybody else has just gone on the exit of transition. So if you can hold it in, just wait a little bit more and it will save you queuing up and transition, and you can go into the one in about 10 minutes time, sit down, not for too long, but you won't have to queue and you can be in and out quick. The food is free. Every aid station you are walking. You've only got, it's 9 minutes 15 a kilometre. That's not much faster than a walk anyway, but never stop. If you walk the aid stations, which you should, all the food is free. It's a buffet out there. Take as much as you can. Just walk along. Take a carrier bag, I don't care. But never stop. Don't stop and stand there. Don't be tempted by the stupid chairs they put there. Keep moving. Take the race in line. On a course, they're usually pretty wide, and if it's 2 lanes wide down a road and there's a corner, pretend you're like Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen. You want to make that corner as short as possible, because if every corner you're adding 10 metres, 5 metres, over a marathon, that's going to add up to a kilometre, maybe even 2 kilometres if it's a really twisty course. That could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So always take the shortest line. Once you've exited one corner, look for the other corner and go to it directly. Enjoy the finish line, enjoy the spectators, start off nice and steady, and you can build up through it. If you're running the last 5k in 15 minutes, world record, good on you and serious respect. But start out at a nice steady pace. The difference between doing a 16.5 hour Ironman and a 15.5 Ironman and being completely ruined, you're going to enjoy the 16.5 one so much more, and that's what it's about at the end of the day, finishing this race and enjoying it. If you go 30 minutes quicker, completely blow yourself up and end up in the medic's tent at the end, you're not going to be able to remember all those great memories. Well, I mean, I hope you do, but if you're passed out because you absolutely smashed yourself into the floor for the sake of 30 minutes when you're doing a 16-hour Ironman. Now moving on to a bit of nutrition, because this is really, really important when it comes to a long race like this. And if you listen to all these podcasts on nutrition, they're going to bang on about carbs per hour and gels and salts and everything. But if you're taking this steady at a nice low intensity, your heart rate's maybe, I don't know, say if your resting heart rate's 65, 70, and you're racing at 110, 120, I know that's a bit of a jump, but it's not massive, is it? Your body's still going to function fairly similar to a normal body. Compared to when I race, my resting heart rate's 31, 32, and I race at 150. That's like 5 times higher. My body doesn't digest food and process salt and water like it normally would, so I need the fancy gels. But if you're at a lower intensity, the best thing your body is going to work on is the not normal kind of food. You want the simple food. Don't go getting like a salad and fish, but simple foods that your body is used to. Flapjacks, sweets, cake, brownies, high sugar foods, high carb foods that are easy to digest, that aren't going to make you poo yourself.
And she went all in.
Myself, so can you not get my ass? Yeah. Thank you.
Have a selection, lots of different consistencies, like textures, lots of like sugary, lots of salty, savoury, liquids. Have a bit of fruit juice, you know, there's a lot of carbs in fruit juice, that digests pretty easily. If you're doing a hot one, then good luck to you, because you're going to be drinking like New Year's Eve. The average person, I think, loses about a litre an hour of sweat when they're going, and over 17 hours that's 17 litres, which is actually insane if you think about how much that is to drink, 17 litres. And I think it's like you can lose 3% water weight of your body mass and it not cause any issues. So you've got a little bit of wiggle room, but you want to get at least 14, 15 litres, and everything you drink needs to have a bit of salt in it as well, otherwise you're just going to drown yourself in water and it's going to do nothing. So you want to make sure you're drinking at least 750 every single hour with a bit of salt in there, otherwise when it comes to hour 10, 11, your body's going to start to shut down and it won't start to process the food, and you're going to come grinding to a halt. Have you seen the film Marathon Man? Not Marathon Man, Run Fat Boy Run, with that guy in, and the wall. The wall is just when you run out of carbs. It's not this magical place where your body just thinks, oh yeah, we've got to the wall in a marathon, I'm going to stop working now. It's because of an actual thing, and it's when you run out of carbs. If you don't eat enough salt and get enough calories in, you're going to come grinding to a halt. Right, I've got a couple of blanket statements that you can apply in all areas of Ironman racing, training, eating. So the first one, do everything whilst moving. If you've got to adjust your thing in your trousers while you're running along, do it while you're moving. Don't stop, have a little play around. Keep doing it while you're moving. Whilst you're in transition, put your helmet on, put it on while you're walking to your bike. Put your glasses on while you're walking to your bike. If you've got a handful of food that you need to put in your pockets, pick it up and do it while you're walking to your bike. Aid stations. Take the food and take it to go, just like a drive-through. They wouldn't let you sit around in a drive-through and eat it there next to the window. You want to put it in your mouth and get going. Don't waste your money on all these fancy gels. Just keep your food simple, keep them high calorie and high sugar and carb, maybe a bit of salt in there, but don't go getting all this fancy nutrition, because you're going to waste your money. Spend that money on the fancy tyres I told you about. Comfort is key. If you're out there for 17 hours, you want to be comfy. You want to remember this as a lovely day out, an adventure, not your bumhole has now got a second bumhole next to it because you've rubbed through from cycling on that saddle and running and weeing yourself. So if you need to change clothes, change clothes. If you need to adjust, have an adjust. Don't just grit it through the bike, because then you've got 6.5 hours of running to do. The rules don't apply to you. Ironman is going to go on about drafting and all other things like buoyancy shorts and what you can wear on your wrist and having your top open. You can stretch the rules, because the spotlight is sadly not going to be on you so much, or at least you're going to be surrounded by people the whole way, so nobody's going to pick you out individually and be like, yeah, disqualify them, they were drafting for 2 minutes back there. So stretch the rules as much as you can. And now for the final section. This is what could make or break your Ironman event, and it's course selection. And if you're in the UK, which is where I'm from, 10B. Ironman Wales. It's ranked like the hardest Ironman, or it's in the top 5 at least, which sounds great, but that is probably going to be miserable, and it's going to make your life so much harder. There's other events out there which are sunny, they're flat, they've got lovely smooth roads, a holiday environment all around them. So if you can, I mean, Tenby's great, and Leeds is probably lovely. I mean, it's in Leeds for a starter. Why would you pay £700 to have the roads closed in Leeds for a load of people to race through? I'm not sure. But there's Ironmans out there that have swims down rivers. You could float down it at 55 seconds per 100 metres. There's bikes that are pan flat, not a single metre of elevation on perfectly glass tarmac. If you want to go up and down, out and back on a horrible grassy gravel track up mountains, good on you, but I don't, and neither do you if you're trying to just make the cut-off time. So look for a run that's nice and flat. It's got changes in direction, not too many, no dead turns because they're going to ruin you, but a bit of scenery to take your mind off of it. And I think that could be about it. Oh yeah, one more thing before I go. There's not another day in your life where you're going to burn, this is my calculations, if you burn 500 calories an hour, which is conservative, that's 8,500 calories. And there's not another day in your life where you're going to burn that many calories. So yeah, in the race, enjoy it, but the day after, you go for it. Pack it in, eat the sweets, eat the cake, have a load of beer, because you've earned it. So good luck to you, and let me know if this helped. And I quite enjoyed making it, so send me some questions below if you need any more help. Thanks for watching.